So I know you've remodeled hundreds of, maybe more than that, just hundreds of homes. Have you worked with any celebrities? You work with some of the housewives, right? No?
Are they housewives? They're not housewives. They are. What are they? Love and Hip Hop.
Oh, okay.
Is that
Okay.
You know, we get
Love and Hip Hop.
we got reality.
Right. Who's on Love and Hip Hop? I don't know about that.
Andy.
Oh, okay.
Mandy was Love and Hip Hop.
Okay.
Simona is the creator of Love and Hip Hop.
Oh, okay. Okay, so how was that?
What
and
was
how
Tammy? Tammy wasn't Love and Hip Hop. Tammy is, I don't know, something love and something. I just don't know. No throwing shots. I just don't know. I forgot.
Right.
But yeah, reality. So reality is reality. So this is my truth, right?
Welcome to another edition of the Icon Theory podcast, where we empower entrepreneurs to build iconic legacies. I'm Dawn, one of your co-hosts, and this is Tanya, Tymus, Bellamy, my amazing co-host. Today we are joined by a premier entrepreneur, a luxury interior designer, and the Queen of Re-Invention, Mrs. Dereky Martin-Haglar.
Hey.
Isn't she beautiful?
Just like these ladies.
Right. So we're going to jump into it. We obviously this is about entrepreneurship. And we were wondering, have you always been an entrepreneur, or what prompted you to start your entrepreneurial journey?
I have always been an entrepreneur. I've been working since I was 12, right? So that was 2 years ago. 10 years ago. No, but literally, I've been working since I was 12. I remember the Million Man March. My stepdad at the time, he had me, the Capri Suns just came out then, right?
Yeah.
I'm dating myself. So he had me at the Million Man March, like selling waters in a cooler and Capri Suns. So that was at 12 years old. I've always liked designer clothes at an early age, and my stepmom and my mother didn't work out, so my mother couldn't afford it as a single parent. So she was like, I can't afford that. And I was like, no worries. I'll go out and work myself. So literally, I have been an entrepreneur since 12, and I've always had a double job. When I say double job, so like at 13, I got a job literally like at McDonald's with a work permit, right? But I still, in high school, I sold and baked goods like cookies and cakes. I guess that's where my daughter gets it from. So I've always been an entrepreneur at heart.
Wow, always a hustler.
Always
Right.
a hustler. Life is a hustle.
Yes, it is.
For sure.
So tell us about, well, you just told us about some of your earlier business endeavors.
Yes.
When did you become, I guess, professional entrepreneur? Because I mean, although 12, that's real cute, and you were getting your little pocket change. But when do you
Not
think
pocket
you really?
change.
Well, I mean, shoot, at 12, pocket change is big. You
These
know what I
12-year-olds
mean?
today, though, they are bringing in the bank.
Oh,
Yes,
aren't
they
they?
are.
Like bringing in the bag,
yes,
right?
yes.
Right.
So what prompted, or how did you start your professional entrepreneurial journey, and what was that business?
So, I mean, I'm always evolving. So even though you classify as a professional entrepreneur, I'm still learning. Like I mentioned earlier that, I watch other individuals, and I'm always like trying to stay on the cutting edge of my industry, but I'm also trying to learn of just different hustles, like what's the next, right? So as far as when I became a professional entrepreneur, I guess I emerged from the workforce as a supervisor at Verizon in 2003. I think 2003, I was very successful at Verizon. I had 3 different teams. So they have different corporate offices in Verizon, like in the area, maybe like 6. And each time I would get a low performing team, and I would excel, and then they would move me to another office after I like worked my butt off to get this team up and running. You know how hard it is to manage people now when you have 30 people under you, and at a young age too.
Tell me about it.
So right, you know, right? So
Yes.
they moved me to another office, and I would repeat the same thing, and they would move me to another office, and I would repeat the same thing. And my boss asked me one day, the big boss, can you give some tidbits about what you do and how you do it? I don't know. I mean, I'm a Taurus. I'm a true Taurus. Taurians, they have I'm not really into astrology, but we have traits of life gets us down, but we're not going to lay down in it, right? People put you down, but I'm not going to let anybody define who I am and where I'm going to go. So with that, I guess I became a professional entrepreneur. Back to your question, I'm sorry. I went all the way around the Mulberry Bush. In 2003, when I left Verizon, my family is a corporate family, so they thought I was crazy, right? My mother, my aunts, my uncles, they all, graduated, Lord, they all retired from Verizon. And when I told them I was leaving my good gravy job because I got lots of bonuses because I was a top salesperson to go into real estate, they thought I was crazy. But you know what? That's when I became a professional entrepreneur in 2003. I would say I left corporate. I didn't have any umbrella over me, no safeguard over me. Guess what? If I get sick, I don't make money. I'm as good as my last sale. So that's when I became a professional entrepreneur.
And that kind of leads into my question. So everyone, you have a really extensive resume. You do the research. Don't be humble here. You do, but most people know you now as being an interior designer. But you were like a top selling real estate agent for years. I know you did like hundreds of millions of dollars in sales. That's how I first found out about you in the real estate industry. So tell me a little bit about that. How were you able back then, when there was no social media, to sell like $100 million in real estate in such a short period of time?
You know what? I have always been an overachiever. When I left Verizon, I knew that I ain't at swim or sink, right? When you're an entrepreneur, it's swim or sink. You have no safety net out there. It's swim or sink.
Yes, it is.
So when I left Verizon, I came on Carl Harper's team. Carl mentored me at Long & Foster, right? He mentored me, and 1 month later, after I went to Long & Foster, he said, hey, I'm going to Remax. And I said, oh, take me with you. So he said, okay. He said, but right now you're on a 50-50 split. And he said, I'm going to put you on an 80-20 split, right? So I said, wow. 80-20. I said, so if I sell $1 million, then that means at 20%, I said at 3%, $1 million, that's $30,000. At 20% of that, I said, you're going to take $6,000 of my money? So then he was like, yeah. And I said, that's too much. So he was like, he said, you said you're going to sell $1 million. You're new and you're only 1 month in. And I said, give me a shot. I said, here's what I want. I want, you get what you negotiate in life, right? Yes. I said, I want 90-10. I'm going to sell $1 million every month. And if I sell more than $1 million, I want 95-5. He laughed.
Oh. Always
he laughed,
great to be
underestimated. Okay, all right. I said, I've been here before, when someone's laughed and doubted me. So I said, okay. So I worked my butt off, and not only did I sell $1 million a month, I sold $2 million a month. My very first year, 2003, I was Rookie of the Year. I sold $12 million.
Wow.
In 6 months, from June to December, July to December. So I sold $2 million a month, and then catapulted from there. But I forgot, what was the question? I'm sorry.
No, you're there.
How did I sell without social media? So I did realize that, okay, my name is very unique, right? That's a blessing and a curse, right? Yeah. Right, because I do have a slew of people that I'm no in between. You either love me or you hate me. It's not in between, right? So, and I'm good with that at this age.
Yes.
But, so I knew that my name was very unique, and I knew that I had to get my name out there, and I knew that in entrepreneurship, you got to spend money at that time, right? Now social media is free, right? So it's, again, a blessing and a curse. You all know that, right?
Yes.
Woo! But anyway, so I had to spend money to make money, and at that time, I was willing to spend money to advertise, to get this unique name out there. And at that time, like, there was an AM gospel radio station. At that time, we all, at some point, we had to listen to God, and we still do. But, that was just a popular station that got me out there, and billboards and everything else. So I spent a lot of money, but in return, I also made a lot of money to be able to get my name out there. Oh, but what helped me was when I was at Verizon, I did take an appraisal course.
Oh,
so with real estate appraisals, houses always fascinated me. So it helped me to be able to identify the things that would bring value to a home and get your return on your investment. So because of that, I knew how to get the maximum value when I sold houses. And then that's how I branded myself as, I'm gonna get you the maximum value to sell your home. So that's that.
That's interesting. So how is appraisals and Verizon connected? Like, why would they offer an appraisal course?
No, they did not.
Oh.
So after being like top sales, like I get bored.
Okay.
Like once I achieve a goal or I like prove myself wrong or prove myself right, I get bored. So I said, you know what? Let me just try something else. Let me try real estate appraisals, right? So I went out and I took an appraisal class, and it was fascinating to me to go into all of these houses and to be able to see, you know, what added value and contribution. So it was easy for me to get those CMAs when I was a real estate agent. But anyway, because I was in sales of Verizon, I was like, duh, like this doesn't make sense. Like, why am I doing real estate appraisals when I'm in sales and I'm doing well in sales? Let me go into sales.
Yeah.
So let me use that experience to do well in sales, and that's kind of what happened there. Then the market crashed on me, right? So
that kind of leads me to what happened next. So I remember those days when you were like the queen of real estate flipping. Well, that was the title that was floating around. You know that.
So
I remember those. I mean, you would like
man.
sell out hotel ballrooms. You had like hundreds of. Come on now. You like had
oh my God,
like
bringing back
hundreds of
memories.
I mean, yes,
Oh my goodness, yes.
So I know you had a lot of students at that time, and I remember it was you and Dereky Irvin. Now, did you all work together, or was it just like friendly competition?
So in the beginning, it was unfriendly competition.
Oh, unfriendly. Okay,
it was unfriendly because she was the real estate investment queen. That was her title.
Okay, that was
investment
her title.
queen. And I was like, no, I'm the real estate queen. Like, no. Okay. So, but anyway, so like her advertisements, and it was propaganda. Like we laugh about it now, right? Her advertisements was like always throwing shots, and I'm like, what? Like, so I throw shots back, right? I'm immature, right? Collaboration, right? Over competition any day, right? You learn that as you get older. But anyway, so it was unfriendly competition, but I felt like, okay, here she is. She came from wherever, and zero real estate sales experience, zero real estate appraisal experience. Hey, I can do this, right? So Greg Ben and I, remember it was Greg and I. So we had this real estate investment course, OMG, right? And we had like students. And when you do those courses, oh my God, you have to be committed to people and people's personalities. Right. And you take on a lot of liability, right? But that was fun, I guess.
So I guess that speaks to my next question, because you talked about the market crashing and you talked about liability. Do you think experiencing hardships in that particular field, the real estate field, is one of the things that prompted you to maybe pivot to interior design, or were there some stops in between real estate and interior? So
there was definitely some stops in between real estate and interior design. So in the interim of real estate, Al has always done contracting. Like when I first met him, one of our first dates, he took me to a house that was off of Eastern Avenue. So, it's two Eastern Avenues, right?
And for those who don't know, Al,
that's her husband.
Oh, sorry, y'all. That's my husband. Sorry, I don't know why I'm assuming. Right? So, right, he's always joined in my hip. But anyway, he took me out on the first date, and it's to Eastern Avenue. So this is the bad Eastern Avenue. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Okay, I'm stereotyping.
Well, it is.
But anyway, so it's to
so.
Eastern Avenue. So he took me to the Division Avenue, Eastern Avenue, right? So he took me there. He had a house there, and at that time, he was renting a house. So when he showed me the house, he was like, "What do you think?" And it was like Amityville Horror. And at that time, I was still at Verizon. I didn't have no real estate or anything, so I didn't have a vision at all. So I was like, what do you mean? I was like, oh no, I'm gonna stop seeing him if you think I'm gonna live here. But anyway, to see how his vision was, right? Prior to me even having a vision, that was just amazing to see how he transformed the house. So he's been doing this well before I came along. I just came along and took over like I always do. So, but what was your question again? I'm sorry.
So no, that was like, did hardships in the real estate industry cause you to pivot to? Well, you say there were some stops in between.
So the stops in between would be like the real estate investing, but then when the market crashed, we had literally like 3 houses that we invested our own money into. When I say our own money, meaning my real estate sales money, I would take that money and put it into flips. And we had 3 houses that were sitting on the market, I remember vividly, and our own money tied into those houses, and we didn't get our return on our investment. So as a result, yes, it was like, what next? What do you do? Okay, market crash, nobody's spending money on, nobody's buying the houses at market rate, right, 2008. Really, nobody's spending money on fixing up the houses because they're scared, because they don't know whether they're going to get the return on their value or the investment on fixing up the houses.
So much.
The values dropped drastically. So it's
quickly.
Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
I found myself probably in the year later, which was 2009, which was still really tough, right? That was a tough year. And I got pregnant. Too much time on my hands. I was like, home too long. So I was like, okay, 40 years old pregnant. Oh my God, really?
Really?
So yes.
You got pregnant later.
Oh girl, yes, second baby, but yes. So I was always good with one. I was always good with none. But then one, but then, so I got pregnant. I love Brooke. Okay, Brooke, if you're watching, I love you, baby. But anyway,
I remind my kids of that all the time, because trust me,
yes.
I love them dearly, but that was not a part of my vision.
It wasn't part of my plan, right?
I think as entrepreneurs, you don't see that. You're seeing what you want to achieve, the goals you want to accomplish. And you do know deep down inside that even the passion you have for your entrepreneurship, you're going to have that same passion in motherhood. So it does slow you down and, get you off track of the things that are. So it's a safe space for that to be said. I don't know how Brooke will receive it. I think I've already warned McKenna, Mikey, McCoy. So they know.
So you all know,
Right.
So I was pregnant, and I found myself, again, my name is unique, right? So in 2010, it was rough. The market crashed. Our houses was here. I was pregnant. And at that time, there was no income. There was no income. So everything we did was centered around real estate. Okay, remodeling, right? Flips, sales, right? So there was no income. And at that time, and I've always liked nice things. You couldn't tell me to save for, rainy day, because no one knew that the market was going to shift, right? I mean, we woke up. Like it was a little bit of signs, but and people was like, oh, the market is changing. I didn't believe them. Right. So I'm selling a lot. Like, I didn't believe them. So didn't save for a rainy day. You're younger, right? So I found myself going to social services on Barlow Road. Oh my God, I had to put on a baseball cap. I'm there with all these people in social services. My head is down. Ali's like, well, I'm not going in. Or you shouldn't go in. You're the man. I found myself at social services, my hat, baseball hat, and I was looking down, and they call your name all loud, and I'm like, oh my God, Lord, please. So I'm sitting there talking to the lady. She was like, you know what? I think I know you. I was like, okay,
Lord.
You know what? Out of all days, right? I'm like, why couldn't I get the Latino lady that could barely speak? Like, right? So she was like, I think I've seen your commercial. So yes, I'm here. But anyway, that was like one of the most humiliating moments that I have ever had to endure, where I had to go and get food stamps to eat because I put all of my eggs into one basket, and I just vowed to myself that I wouldn't do that again. But yes, so that helped catapult us. So, and during that time when I was pregnant, I always had a natural knack for fixing up houses. When Al was fixing this, I took over his business. So I always had an eye for detail and design. I always like fashion and design goes hand in hand. And with that, I took some classes. I got a mentor, and I kind of stumbled on a mentor. Like when I bought my own house, I went to like the High Point Furniture Market, which is a wholesale show, and I was a kid in a candy jar. I was trying to get in, and it was so strict then, right? They only had maybe about 5 Black people. And long story short, I know I'm pivoting, but I'm telling the story for a reason. So I couldn't get in, and they were like, you need all these credentials to get in, right? So it's like, what do you need? And they were like, oh, you need a store, you need this, you need that. So I got every credential except for the store. I found myself standing on the corner of, it's right across from Shoppers off of Coventry Way. Anyway, there's a Carpet One or something. I found myself taking a picture of Carpet One. At that time, I knew how to work the computer. Okay, I shouldn't be saying this. I cropped out their name, Lord have mercy, and put my name in there. And lo and behold, I got to the furniture market, right? So I was there, a kid in the kid. That's how I started, like going to the furniture shows and all that stuff. But anyway, so because the credentials now are so easy, but then it was very tough because they didn't want us there. So I went there and I kind of stumbled on this mentor. She saw me just walking around like a kid. And she was like, sweetheart, you know what you're doing now? No, and I'm just going to leave. I can't come back. And then we had a 2-seater Mercedes and she sat in the front seat with me. Al drove, and we all squished in this seat together and she was taking us around and said, you tell them Miss Ava sent you, Miss Ava sent you. So anyway, so her and Miss Sylvia from Texas ended up being my mentor. I went and spent time with Miss Sylvia. She taught me like the ropes of design, and that's how I learned. So I don't have any formal training. It just
have a knack for it.
Yeah.
So about how many houses did you flip, would you say?
It was a lot. I would say to date about 100. That's a lot.
Yeah,
it was
that's a lot.
So personally, probably Al and I, maybe about 40, but helping others, and then like my family and just helping others, and I would say collectively, but yeah, personally about a 40. Yeah.
So you mentioned Al, and I know you're in business with your husband. I've been down that road before myself. So I was wondering, how do you balance your work relationship with your romantic relationship when you are in business with your husband? All right, I'll continue. I'll piggyback onto that question.
No, I'm telling
Do you find it challenging, or do you find that having those commonalities and working towards a common goal helps keep the marriage strong because you're working towards something together? I know it has its challenges as well. Like I said, I've done this, so I do know. But I wanted to kind of frame it a little differently, not have it all the way out there.
You know, I don't care. I'm transparent. I don't care at this point in life. I don't. But it you know what? Al gets on my last nerve. I love him to pieces, but he gets on my last nerve, and I work his nerves. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, he's such the nicest man." I mean, they always says that. There's a saying, everybody loves Al. I was like, live with him. Live with him. But anyway, he's an old school gentleman, so I can say that. He's very nice. He's a people person. But Al is a Leo, and I am a Taurus, and we are very headstrong. Al feels like, okay, you know what? I know construction, and you can't tell me what to do. And I'm like, okay, but I know design, and I know that you can do it. So it's like, and I push him too much, and he's like, look, chick, I'm 60. I'll be 65 this year.
Oh,
and I'm
It
like,
looks amazing.
thank you. And I'm like, okay, but guess what? We got to get up and keep going. So, you know, but anyway, do I find it challenging? It's great when we can work together towards a common goal, right? When we have one goal in mind and when we row in the same boat in the same direction. Can it be challenging? Yes, because there's times when he is the boss, and there's times when I have to respect that, and there's times when I am the boss, and him being a very strong male, and I'm an alpha female. We can bump heads at times where I'll be like, you know what, I can't do. Well, you know, he be the, so I'm petty, so he wouldn't say it. So he won't say I can't do this today. Guess what? I'll say it first now. I'll be like, okay, you know what, I can't do this today. You know what? You drive your truck. Go ahead and I'm to my car. So I try to get to him first. Right. I know when I work his nerves when it's coming, so I try to do it first. So now when I do it, I'm so used to him doing it. But anyway, so it can be great, and then there's some days it's like we need a breather. And some days, and for so long we did not have a breather. It was just us. So we would just be arguing in the car, and then we get in front of the customers, and we'd be like, "Sure, yes." And then, hey, Al, and he'll be looking like, "It's me nothing." But yeah.
So I know you remodeled hundreds of, maybe more than that, just hundreds of homes. Have you worked with any celebrities? You work with some of the housewives, right? No?
I mean, housewives. They're not housewives. They are. What are they? Love and Hip Hop.
Oh, okay.
Is that
Right. Okay.
You know, we got reality.
Right.
Who's on Love and Hip Hop? I don't know about them.
Mandy.
Oh,
okay.
Mandy was Love and Hip Hop.
Okay.
Simona is the creator of Love and Hip Hop.
Oh, okay. Okay, so how was that?
What
and
was
how
Tammy? Tammy wasn't Love and Hip Hop. Tammy is, I don't know, something love and something. I just don't know. No, don't shots. I just don't know. I forgot. Right. But yeah, reality. So reality is reality. So this is my truth, right? So with reality, you live a life of, you have to be able for the ratings to be able to create drama. And I believe that sometimes people can't distinguish real from the reality, meaning that real from being filmed. So at that point, they don't know when to turn off like the drama button. So, and not only that, we're in a generation with people who cater or who put people up on a pedestal because they're in front of a camera, and so they're accustomed to getting a lot of, and they use it to their advantage too, right? And I don't say maybe it's not, maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, but they're accustomed to getting a lot of perks and a lot of freebies. So what I have encountered is that it is a lot less stressful when you deal with everyday hardworking people than when you deal with reality, because 100%. They sell you on, I can promote you, right? So if you have low self-esteem, or if you don't have a big following, or if you don't have a lot of confidence, you get sold on this dream of, hey, they can help me grow, and then maybe I'll get someone. But in reality, the people that they may turn you on to, if they do, it's like you don't want them either. So I just said, you know what? It doesn't work for me. It may work for other people, but it just does not work for me. No.
I agree. I mean, I've had some of those situations as well with specifically housewives of Atlanta, and they do want to leverage their celebrity. And this is how I make my living. This is how I feed my children. So that doesn't matter to me. I would rather not even take on that clientele, which I was going to ask, do you find that clientele to be more demanding? But obviously the answer is yes. Because the expectations I know can be
a little daunting.
Yes.
I mean, and it's no secret. I've never spoken on it. It's no secret. That may be one of your questions. I mean, I had a run in 2019, Tammy and I had a run in. The crazy part about it was, instead of me telling my side of the story, I retreated, right? I retreated, meaning that I came off of social media. You don't run when you're in adversity. You face it head on, you get through it, because what I've learned is social media is on to the next. Today it's
they hate you, and tomorrow they
today
love you.
it's Diddy, tomorrow it's Kanye, right? So it's like they're on to the next. They're on to the next, and it's like you said, love you today, hate you tomorrow, love you again tomorrow. So so that's the biggest mistake I made by retreating. Also, just not being able to tell my side of the story, but for legal reasons, I was not. We are still in litigation. Like, our attorney called us and was like, "Hey, guess what? Great news!" So we're still in litigation behind that, where we actually sued, right? Because it was very, very detrimental to our business. And that was very tough. Yeah.
Did you want to tell your side of the story, or you still can't?
That's a great question. I'm not really sure if I can tell my side of the story yet, because we are still in litigation. So I'm not really sure if I can tell my side of the story yet. But there will be a time when I can tell my side of the story, because there was so many untruths to that. So people feel like that's their truth, but there's so many exaggerated things. So for instance, and I can say this, when her kitchen was already started by IKEA. Like, they did her kitchen. I was only hired to put in appliances. And there was a issue with the downdraft. She didn't want to do like the downdraft that was like a lot more costly. There was an issue with the downdraft. So because of that, we tried to make a universal work. It didn't work. My granite guys came down twice to Atlanta. It didn't work. So by that time, her and I was going back and forth. You can't just say anything to me. I'm gonna say, something back.
Right.
So we had a back and forth exchange. And at that time, she texted me and said, "You don't realize my influence." And that's when, she kind of put me out there. But there were so many things, there were blatant omissions to the story, that if there was two sides and people could have evaluated both. Yes, did I make some mistakes? Yes, I'm not going to say that I did not make any mistakes. The longer I'm in a project, the more problems I have, right? So I wasn't in and out. And doing long distance jobs are a lot tougher than I'm here. Number one, I got to get a work crew down there, right? Atlanta is, 12 hours away?
Yes.
Yes. So, and keep in mind, like, most of my workers, right, they drive, right? They're Latino. So because of that, then it's like trying to get a work crew down there, trying to manage a forest. They've got stuff going on here. So it's tough. That was tough. So I saw out of town jobs, I'd be like, ooh. But anyway.
So I do remember the entire situation with Tammy and Waka Flocka, but I felt like you handled it well, actually. I was telling Tanya that I was like, she like was resilient through it all. Like you were still advertising, like, come on, do this. Right. And that's when I looked at you differently, like, oh my gosh, she's like, look, they're gonna tear me down, but I'm gonna still keep it moving. So
I went away for a while.
I saw it briefly.
Yeah, I went away probably 19 to maybe like 21, and it was just amazing how people, even though I went away, I just went away, period. Like, and it was times that was really tough. I mean, I couldn't even get out of bed sometimes, and that's just not me. That's just not me, right? That's just not, I had to bring myself back. I couldn't, like, I literally, and I am not no weak person by far, but I wanted to end it all there. It was just really, really, really bad. I felt bad about the position I put Al in. It was just really bad at that time, but I went away and people like hunted me down. Like it was amazing. Like it was like people that was like, okay, I don't know where you went to. I don't even know how I found you, but can you please do my home? And I was like, I'm not doing no more homes. I don't care. I don't care if I don't make no money. I'm not doing nothing. You know, and I had this one lady and she just cried and she said, you know what? She said, you just don't know what I'm going through. And she said, can you please do my home? And, you know, she was like, you know, my husband she was going through some marital problems and she just cried. She just told me she lost her parents. And anyone who knows me, you got to get to know me. I am tough on the exterior, but my heart is good. And when she told me that, you know, it just, and I was still going through my stuff, and I just was like, she was like, can you please do my home? And she kind of hunted me down. So she got me kind of back in the game. And I was just like, I kept telling her no. And then she, like I said, she kind of cried and just told me her story. And I was like, okay, I'll do your home. And that was during COVID. And I still tried to get out of it with COVID. I was like, we're not supposed to be in people's houses. So she was like, I had masks here. So I said, Lord, we're not even supposed to be on the highway. So she was like, you're essential personnel. Remember construction, I think, was essential personnel. So I said she would not let me get out of it. So anyway, we ended up doing it. And I kind of found myself back again by doing it and advertising it. And then I think it was Valentine's Day in 21, because I think I went away 21. And I just had all this red stuff from doing the Neil's house, right? From Stan's house. 40,000 square foot house. I had all this red that I did. And I just said, you know what? What if I just tried to go back on Instagram? At that time, I had temporarily suspended it. And you know, when you don't use your password,
you try to get it back.
So I had to try to get my account back. I emailed and ironically, I got it back. So, and I was like, what if I just tried? And I posted on Valentine's Day. You go on my timeline, you'll see it. And so many people was like, oh my God, we missed you. You're back. Where did you go? And I was like, oh, okay.
I didn't know you were gone
I guess
that
I didn't
long.
realize that
I didn't realize
either.
you were gone that long.
2 years.
I didn't realize that either because it didn't seem like that.
Yeah.
It seemed like you were still moving and shaking and doing your thing.
Now I was on Facebook a little bit because Facebook is a little different, right?
Yeah.
Facebook is
more mature.
yes. And Facebook, I feel like it's like for your friends. Facebook is like bragging rights. Like, you know, you talk about your kids and all that stuff, and it's like your friends and family. So you got more thumb gangsters on Instagram and you got and TikTok than you have on Facebook, right? Because Facebook, your name is right there, right? So those people, those same people don't talk that smack on Facebook that they would on Instagram because they can go create a fake account. You don't know who it is. But on Instagram, but on Facebook they won't. So that was just a little different. So I did do a little Facebook.